What truly separates elite athletes from average players? It's not just talent. It's not even hard work alone. There's one habit that consistently shows up at the highest levels of performance, and most people completely overlook it. The difference between good and great often comes down to what happens behind the scenes every single day. In this video, we're breaking down the one habit that separates elite athletes from everyone else, and how you can apply it to your own life, whether you're on the field or not. What is deliberate self-review? Deliberate self-review is not the same as simply watching game tape or thinking about what went wrong after a bad match. It is a structured, honest, and consistent habit of evaluating your own performance, identifying specific weaknesses, acknowledging mistakes without excuses, and then creating a clear plan to fix them before the next session. Elite athletes do not wait for a coach to tell them what went wrong. They already know. They have already analyzed the footage, thought through the scenarios, and come up with adjustments. Average players, on the other hand, tend to focus only on what they did right, brush past their mistakes, or blame external factors like the referee, the weather, or their teammates. That single difference in mindset creates a compounding gap over months and years of training. The elite athlete keeps getting sharper. The average player keeps making the same mistakes at a slightly higher speed. Why most players skip this habit? Honest self-review is uncomfortable. It forces you to sit with your failures and look at them clearly. Most people do not enjoy that feeling. It is much easier to finish a game, say, "I played well enough," and move on to the next practice. The brain naturally protects our self-image, which means we instinctively remember our good plays more vividly than our bad ones. This is why average players often feel like they are improving even when they are not. They remember the great goal they scored and forget the 3 defensive mistakes that led to the opponent scoring. Elite athletes train themselves to fight this bias. They actively seek out their weakest moments and spend more time studying those than they do celebrating their wins. This is psychologically difficult, and it is one of the main reasons this habit remains rare even among dedicated athletes who train hard every single day. How the best athletes actually do it. The process looks different across sports, but the core principles are the same. After every game or major training session, elite athletes carve out dedicated time, sometimes as little as 15 to 20 minutes, to review what happened with clear eyes. In team sports, this often means watching video footage of specific plays. In individual sports, it might mean journaling about decision-making patterns, timing errors, or emotional responses under pressure. The key is that this review is structured and specific. They are not just watching themselves play. They are asking targeted questions. Why did I hesitate in that moment? What did my body positioning look like before that error? What did my opponent do that I failed to anticipate? These are not vague reflections. They are diagnostic questions designed to find root causes rather than surface-level symptoms. Once a weakness is identified, it goes directly into the next training plan. It becomes the focus of the next practice session, and the review loop continues from there. The role of a coach versus self-awareness. Having a great coach matters. Nobody is arguing against that. But elite athletes do not outsource their self-awareness to their coaches. They use the coach as an additional layer of feedback, not as the primary source. Many professional athletes are known for coming into coaching sessions having already identified the problem and sometimes even the solution. They're not waiting to be told. They already know what needs work. This kind of ownership over their own development is what makes the coaching relationship so much more productive at the elite level. When an athlete already understands their own weaknesses and shows up ready to address them, the coach can go much deeper. Average players often rely entirely on the coach to spot errors, which means they are always one step behind in their own development. They can only work on something after someone else identifies it for them. Elite athletes are always one step ahead because they are constantly running their own internal diagnostics. How this habit shapes mental toughness. There is a side effect of consistent self-review that does not get talked about enough. It builds extraordinary mental toughness. When you regularly practice sitting with your failures, analyzing them calmly, and converting them into improvements, you stop fearing mistakes. You actually start to welcome them because you know exactly what to do with them. Elite athletes are not emotionally unaffected by losses. They feel the sting just like everyone else. But they have a system for processing failure quickly and productively. Instead of spiraling into self-doubt or denial, they go into analysis mode. This creates a psychological resilience that compounds over time. The athlete who has reviewed 1,000 uncomfortable moments develops a kind of emotional muscle memory. When something goes wrong in a high-pressure game, they do not freeze or panic. They observe, adapt, and respond. That composure under pressure is not a personality trait they were born with. It is a skill they built through years of deliberate self-review. Applying this habit outside professional sports. You do not need to be a professional athlete or have access to expensive video analysis software to apply this habit. Whether you play recreational football on weekends, compete in amateur tennis tournaments, or train at your local gym, the same principle applies. After every session, spend 10 to 15 minutes asking yourself 3 simple questions. What did I do well, and why did it work? What did I do poorly, and what was the root cause? What is one specific thing I will work on before my next session? That is it. 3 questions, written down or thought through carefully after every single session. The writing part matters because it forces clarity. Vague thoughts stay vague. When you write something down, you are forced to be specific, and specificity is where improvement actually lives. Over weeks and months, this simple review practice creates a detailed map of your development, your patterns, your progress, your persistent weaknesses that no coach can build for you. It becomes a personal database of your athletic self that keeps compounding in value the longer you maintain it. The compounding effect over time. Here is what makes this habit truly powerful. The results are not immediately dramatic. In the first week, you will identify 1 or 2 things to work on. In the first month, you might fix 3 or 4 persistent errors. That does not sound revolutionary, but over a year, if you are consistently identifying and correcting weaknesses at that rate, you will have addressed dozens of specific flaws in your game. Your competition, training the same hours as you but skipping the review, will still be making those same mistakes a year from now. The gap will not feel like a sudden leap. It will feel like a steady, quiet widening. People will start noticing that you play differently, sharper, more adaptive, more composed. They will assume talent or a good season. What they will not see is the 15 quiet minutes after every session where you sat honestly with your performance and chose to get better. That invisible habit is the real separator. Not talent, not luck, just the willingness to look at yourself clearly and act on what you see. Greatness isn't built in one big moment. It's built through one powerful habit repeated daily. If this motivated you, hit like and subscribe for more performance-driven insights. And watch the next video to learn how to train your mindset like a champion.